This video is sponsored by Paradox Interactive. Hey everybody, it's Party Elite here to talk about a brand new DLC for one of my favorite games from 2019, Age of Wonders Planetfall. A sci-fi 4X game from the creators of the Age of Wonders series, the game blends turn-based empire building with turn-based tactical combat, featuring unique factions and the secret technologies that power them, with a wide variety of possible pairings. This latest DLC, Invasions, introduces a few new things, including a brand new faction with the Shakarn, bringing lizardmen to space. If you're interested in picking it up and haven't done so yet, check out the link in the description or pinned comment down below. But without further ado, to make sure you hit the ground running, I've put together some sound advice with 4 essential tips to playing the Shakarn. Your enemies are your friends. From the start of your invasion of a new planet or a new campaign mission, right until the end, your enemies are a great source of value for you as the Shakarn in a few different ways. The infiltrator unit brings an extreme degree of versatility to your armies. Their own stats are fine with decent range damage output, the evasion defensive mode, and universal camouflage to help launch surprise attacks, and they can even be upgraded rather significantly with the appropriate technology. Their biggest shortcomings are the racial weakness to status effects and the inability to mod the unit. But when on the battlefield, infiltrators can use their hollow-shifting ability to just become one of the enemy units on the battlefield, including their abilities and everything. It leaves one action point behind after the action is completed, and from the following turn onwards, you battle as that transformed unit unless you decide to transform back, perhaps in order to select a different unit to hollow shift into. It starts limited to tier 1 and 2 biological units, but with the right technology, you can develop that ability further. This can turn the infiltrator into a more formidable unit without any of the associated costs, but that's not all. In all following battles, you can, right from the start of the battle, hollow shift into the previously used form. This is where the true value comes in my opinion. You can fight Marauder or NPC faction armies and obtain units with abilities you lack right at the beginning of your game. Abilities that can either support your own troops or help overcome specific enemies by targeting their weaknesses. This helps make up gaps in your secret tech or in your racial tech tree right from the beginning. And to top it off, when these units die in their hollow-shifted states, they teleport to a spot 3 hexes away, drop their hollow shift, and regain 20 hit points, which can honestly make or break some battles. Keep in mind though that the AI will use hollow shifting in auto-resolve battles as well, meaning that if you're saving a particular hollow shift for later use, you should be careful with auto-resolving. The Tactician is another interesting unit when it comes to using your enemies to your advantage. Available further down the tech tree, Tacticians are a great support unit with a standout ability called One of Us All Along. Though it starts on a cooldown needing 3 turns in battle to charge, when used, it causes a decent bit of damage to an enemy unit while also spawning a full health unit of sleeper agents that'll stay for the duration of the battle. These flankers are capable from range and in melee, so the one action point they're spawned with can often be used to great effect right away. But the concept of your enemies being your friends goes well beyond the battlefield. With the appropriate research done under the civic tech tree, you can target enemy factions with an operation to steal their racial tech tree on a success. While this is a slower process, it gives you access to all the units, mods, and options as if you were playing that race. It's an excellent way to find and develop more synergies and adapt to evolving situations. Obtaining the right mods and units can help you overcome specific enemy damage types, for example, or they can synergize well with your own secret tech and abilities. This operation, when paired with the active agent networks doctrine, also earns you some extra influence and knowledge, so yet again, your enemies come to your help to let you steal racial tech while also improve your own tech at the same time. And honestly, with enemies like these, who needs friends? Be a hydro homie. The Shakarn feel right at home around water, and water is a great tool at your disposal, giving you a plethora of advantages under a variety of circumstances. For one, you begin with aquatic deployment, allowing you to annex coastal territories or build cities on water without hesitation right at the start. Your troops are amphibious, able to move quickly between land and water, and you have river navigation, so rivers don't slow you down at the beginning of a campaign. Some of your units have camouflage when using the water as well, including some elite tier units, and you can also obtain certain mods that apply water and river camouflage to any unit. This can make for a great surprise against an unsuspecting enemy, with your reinforcements or even main armies arriving from sea completely undetected. Beware though, as a prepared enemy will likely set up a way to detect you and prevent such a surprise from happening in the first place. Early technology and doctrines can also take advantage of water in ways other factions can't. Homeworld Reminiscence generates a decent amount of food in a colony as long as it has a river or coastal zone. That slight advantage can snowball as it translates into quickly growing cities that increase their zone of control rapidly, and the situation can really escalate as you take advantage of other technology that allows you to exploit the same bodies of water. Rivers and coastal zones are huge for the Shakarn. Now again, to clarify, Homeworld Reminiscence does not stack. It only counts once for any number of river or coastal zones within a settlement. Now what's more, the benefit of Homeworld Reminiscence allows you to skip past central biofarms fairly early on in cities with rivers or coastal zones, swapping them out for, say, faster production or research instead, as Homeworld Reminiscence picks up the slack. Use the water to your advantage however you can. Outpace enemies, ambush them, or just keep away from them by building cities at sea before they can get there. There are some very interesting early game options with great mid-game potential here. Use propaganda as a weapon. The Shakarn clearly have a solid network of Instagram models and YouTubers at their disposal, able to convince their people to be happier, produce more, or even fight better with the use of propaganda towers, propagator units, and the right technologies which unlock the right operations. Beyond that, propaganda can be used to incite riots and cause friction between other factions as well. I recommend getting propaganda towers at production hubs and having at least one propagator per army, and using the motivating broadcasting strategic operation. Not only does this increase production anywhere you have the propaganda towers, but it also increases morale of armies fighting within the domains of cities with said towers. And, beyond your borders, the propagators spread the messaging, ensuring your troops gain the extra morale in battle that can be quite significant help when it comes to getting that critical hit. And they're no pushover units either. Flying and able to use sonic weapons, they can be pretty formidable in their own right, especially with mods that let sonic weapons do anything from melt armor or apply the reverb effect. Propaganda can stack too, with a few different operations that can really strengthen what might seem like an otherwise middling army, with better crit chances, upgraded shields, and even the option of instigating hallucinations among the enemies. Naturally, the effects on settlements with propaganda towers stack as well. Remember though to be picky about the placement of towers and not to stack propagators in an army unless you really love them as a unit. Whether the propaganda is relevant or not, all propaganda towers and propagators will apply the benefits of an active propaganda operation, and each one has financial implications. Apart from that, the power of propaganda knows no limits. Which reminds me, if you think the Shakarn sound cool, you can use the link in the description down below. Use the AoE advantage. Between tactical operations and weapon types, the Shakarn seem heavily capable with AoE attacks. Their low-tier units and more effectively, their high-tier units and tactical operations all have great area of effect damage output and value. It's important, as such, to keep your distance when necessary to avoid eating friendly fire, and even more so, to learn your angles and distances. AoE attacks can buy you an extra hex or two of range in desperate circumstances, and you should be ready to use that when the opportunity presents itself. I suggest stacking the racial affinity to AoE attacks with a secret tech that complements it, either damage that jumps short distances or hits adjacent hexes. That way, you can have the singular goal of trying to get your enemies clumped up. Lines, circles, semicircles, it's all good depending on the units you're fielding, and it's especially helpful if you're planning on stacking reverb on a unit, another unique element from the sonic weapons. Some tactical operations and some sonic weapons, and with modifications all sonic weapons, will have the chance of applying reverb to an enemy unit. Stack 3 of that on an enemy unit and it'll take additional damage while causing damage to adjacent units friendly to it. These AoE weapons and abilities can be used to do anything from melt armor, to cause concussions, to destroy cover, and apply the aforementioned reverb. Make sure you mod your units appropriately, and try and set your units up for success with their maneuvering and use of abilities and stacked statuses. The Shakarn are an interesting addition to Age of Wonders Planetfall. They have two distinct approaches within them, driven by their lore: a more subversive, sneaky Zardas cast of warriors, and the more brutal Domok. Heroes can be upgraded to counteract the racial weakness to status effects, and armies can either be led down the more guileful, evasive path, or the brute strength approach through the use of mods, technology, and leader skills. There is a great bit of versatility to be found in their ranks, but I hope these 4 tips help you hit the ground running, and I hope they helped highlight some of what makes these space lizards truly special. Once again, folks, if you're interested in picking it up, check out the link in the description down below. It'll be in the pinned comment as well. Apart from that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did and would like to see more like it, please let me know down below as well in the comments. If you've already picked the DLC up or have already started drawing up your plans for World Conquest, let me know your plans down below as well. I'm always a fan of reading people's thoughts and opinions and clever ways that they intend to use fresh units in strategy games. As always, a massive thanks goes out to all of my channel members and patrons for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. You keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.